Is the market crashing? Are we just about to hit a boom? Or are we just gonna stay stale when it comes to the Oahu real estate market? Well, in this video, I'm gonna give you some data to back up my predictions of what I expect to happen in the next 12 to 18 months in the Oahu real estate market. So if you wanna make sure that you make the best decision when it comes to your real estate needs and investing, stick around to get all the details. See you on the other side. What's going on, guys? Patrick here from PatrickLongRealty.com. And like I said in this video, we're gonna go over my 2024 predictions of what I expect to happen in the Oahu real estate market. More importantly, we're going to focus on what the data is telling us, how to understand how these data points are important, and what I believe to truly happen in the real estate market, specifically out here in Oahu. Now, if this is your first time here, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Patrick Longley. I'm a licensed real estate agent and have been for nearly a decade, helping buyers, sellers, and investors with their real estate needs. Now, if you have any questions about real estate out here in Hawaii, feel free to hit me up. I got my contact information right here, or you can directly DM me on any of my social media platforms. Now, with that being said, let's jump into my 2024 predictions for the Oahu real estate market. Now, before we dive into the data, we need to understand the three big eyes that controls the real estate market more or less. That's going to be inflation, interest rates, and inventory. Okay, now let's go over each one of these concepts, what they are and what the data is telling us about those, and more importantly, how they affect the real estate market. So the first one we have is inflation. Now, inflation in general terms is basically how quickly things in price when it comes to goods and services go up or down. Okay, now generally what we like to see in a healthy economy is inflation going up, like the price of milk going up 2 to 3% every single year. That is a healthy inflation rate. Now, what we saw recently because of COVID was it going up to a peak of 9.1%. That is called hyperinflation. That is not sustainable and not what the economy or the Fed, or Papa Powell as we call him, is what they want to see happen. So that was not good, but we'll get back to that when it comes to the concepts of understanding how it controls everything. The second thing we need to understand, which controls the real estate market, is interest rates. How much does it cost for me to borrow money to go buy a house? So for example, if I want to buy $1 million house, and let's say that the interest rate is 5%, it's going to cost me somewhere between $5,300 and $5,400 a month to borrow money on a 30-year fixed mortgage. Now, if that interest rate goes up, let's just say 1%. Now that $1 million home that was close to about $5,300 a month is now closer to $6,000 a month. That's a huge jump. And you can see how interest rates can affect what somebody can actually afford, which can affect how many buyers are actually willing to buy that house. Now, one interesting formula that I like to call the rule of 10x, for every 1% that interest rates go up or down, your affordability or purchasing power goes up or down 10%. So to just give you an example, if you qualified for $1 million home and interest rates went up just 1%, at that same monthly payment, you could only afford a $900,000 home. That is a 10% decrease because of the 1% increase in the interest rate. So you can see how this can really affect how many buyers actually show up to the table. Now, the third thing we need to look at is inventory. How many actual homes are on the market that buyers actually have the option to purchase? Now, if there's lots of homes on the market, this is a great buyer's market because they have lots of options. If there's not a lot of options or a lot of homes on the market, this is what we call a seller's market because there's lots of buyers going there, but not enough properties for them to sell. Supply and demand 101. If there's not a lot of supply, but lots of demand, prices go up. There's lots of supply, but no demand, prices go down. So there we go. That is the breakdown, more or less, definitions of inflation, interest rates, and inventory. Now let's have a better understanding of how they affect the market. Then we're gonna look at the data. Okay, inflation. Why is inflation understand to pay attention to? Well, because inflation indirectly is controlling interest rates, which again, we talked about the affordability. Because the Fed wanted to slow down the economy because they decided, hey, we have COVID, everybody's out of jobs, we need to give people money. They started printing a bunch of money. That increased the inflation rate from that 2 to 3% that we wanted to see to 9%, making everything super expensive. So everybody had all this free money, but you have prices going up exponentially. And they really wanted to stop that because that could put us in a Venezuela kind of situation. You can look into that, what happened over there, but it basically makes money not worth anything. We don't want that. So to slow down the economy and to slow down inflation, they increased interest rates. And that's where we saw interest rates climb at its fastest pace that we've ever seen in history, which in turn slowed down the economy, but also slowed down the purchasing power for buyers, as we discussed in that rule of 10x. And the third thing is nationwide, almost 80% of homeowners right now have an interest rate lower than 5%. And interest rates in the last few months were floating anywhere between 7 and 8%. So who in their right mind would want to sell their home so that they could go buy a smaller home that would technically be more expensive on the monthly and they could afford less, and trade their home that they have right now where they're paying very little because they have a 3% interest rate, and trade it for an 8% interest rate? It just didn't make sense. So because of that, unless somebody had to sell, they were not going to sell their home. So we have lots of inventory with sellers who want to sell, but they're not willing to sell and then have to go buy a house in a market that has a 7% interest rate. They've got one that's a 3% interest rate with a house that they're fine with. So we have a lot of inventory that's locked up. And because all that inventory is locked up, we have a lot of pent up buyer demand. All these buyers want to buy homes even when the interest rates are high. But because there's no inventory, we still have this demand that's there, and that's why we're not seeing this crazy market crash. Okay, now that we understand the concepts, let's look at the data that tells us what we actually think is going to happen based on all these concepts and theories, because it really helps you paint a picture of what we can expect to happen, and then helps you, the buyer or seller, make the best decision for you and your family to make sure that you get top dollar when you sell it, or that you get a smoking deal when you buy it. So let's take a look at the data and see what we predict to actually happen. Okay guys, now that we understand the concepts and the theories of what controls the market, we want to look at some actual data so that we can make some predictions. And of course, I'll share what my prediction is for the future of 2024 and the real estate market. So first thing we want to look at is, in what direction is inflation going? Is it going up, meaning that we're going to see more rates increases, or is it going down, where we might see rates stabilize or even go down? Well, we can see here that inflation at its peak was at 9.1%. Now, if we fast forward, we can see that inflation, what the Fed is doing, increasing interest rates, is working. It's slowing down the economy, it's slowing down businesses, and we can see it's slowing down people purchasing things. And that is bringing inflation down to about 3.5% right now. Now, they want to be at 2% before they do anything radical when it comes to interest rates and sparking the economy. But we can see that we've really come down significantly from our 9.1% top. And so we're almost at that 2% target that the Fed wants to hit. Now, if we look at mortgage rates, we can see that at its peak, they were close to 8%. And once again, we want to look for trends. Do we see inflation going up or going down? We see it going down. Do we see interest rates going up, or do we see them going down? Well, we can see here that we see them going down, where the average for a 30-year fix is about 6.5%. So this is a good sign that we're going in the right direction for a recovery in the real estate market, where more buyers will come to the table, making it more competitive, and then of course pushing prices up. So this is great for sellers, and for buyers, although it's going to get more competitive, there is a window right now that I believe will be the window before prices go crazy, as you can still get a property at a reasonable interest rate, not the crazy 8% that we're seeing before. Now we're floating in that 6.5%, and we should see some more rate cuts in 2024. Now, don't take my word for it. If you just Google rate cuts, we can see that the Fed has already discussed and thrown out some information that they are going to have at least 3 rate cuts in 2024. Depending on which article you read, sometimes it's 3 rate cuts, sometimes it's 6 rate cuts, which can be anywhere between about 75% of a point, so almost 1%, or 2%-ish when it comes to rate cuts, which can be significant. That could get us back down to that 4.5% mortgage, which is a lot more attractive than that 8% that we were looking at just a few months ago. So as you can see, we do see that interest rates are coming down. This is what the Fed wants to do. They want to bring rates down, not too quickly, but quickly enough to make sure that they do not crash the economy and make it worse than it should be, because they would just find themselves doing exactly what they did before, which is to print a bunch of money, fix the economy, give us hyperinflation, put us right back to where we were before. They don't want to do that. So they're bringing down rates 3 times in 2024, which is going in the right direction, which should spark the economy, which should also bring more buyers to the table. So that is essentially my prediction. What do I think is going to happen? I think that the market is going to start to take off. Now, is it going to be a Dogecoin rocket ship to the moon? No, I believe it will be a smooth increase, because we are going to see inventory slowly creep out to the market, and we're going to see more buyers slowly come back to the market. But it's not going to be like we're going to be flooded with inventory, or we're going to be flooded with buyers. It's going to be one of those things where they somewhat even out, which is more reason why we haven't seen a huge crash. And we're going to slowly start to increase prices. So it is a good time to get into the market if you're looking to buy. If you're looking to sell and you could wait, I would wait till interest rates come down a little bit lower, because you will see more buyers coming to the table. It will give you more opportunity and more leverage when it comes to these buyers who are interested, who have more affordable interest rate. So that would be my 2 cents. Sellers, if you can wait. If you can't, sell. It's going to get better in the next 6 to 12 months, in my opinion. And for buyers, I would jump on it as soon as possible, because as interest rates come down, we'll have more buyers come to the table, which will make it more competitive. Anyways, guys, if you guys have any questions about the real estate market or real estate in general, specifically out here in Oahu, Hawaii, I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to contact me. I've got my contact information right here, or you can directly DM me on my social media platforms. And last thing, if you guys can do me a huge favor, it really helps with the algorithm and helps me know that you guys actually like my content. Make sure you like and subscribe. Click that notification bell so you get notified whenever I drop videos just like this. With that being said, I'm Patrick with PatrickLawrenRealty.com, powered by eXp Realty. Hope you have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you soon. Aloha.